Tractor-trailer pre-trip inspection. Common repeated phrases to remember. Securely mounted, not cracked or broken. Securely mounted, not cracked, bent or broken. Securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken or leaking. Pre-trip inspection. Starting at front of tractor. Inspecting all lights and reflectors on the front of the truck. The marker lights. The clearance lights. The high and low beam headlights. The left and right turn signals, and four-way flashers. Are all securely mounted, and not cracked or broken. They are the proper color and working. There also are no leaking fluids on the ground. Next. Starting on right side of cab. All lines and hoses on the passenger side, including the radiator hoses, are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking. Exhaust system runs from the manifold on the engine, under the cab, and up through the stack. Are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking. A leak would be evident if black soot residue were present. Frame and cross members, from the rear of the vehicle all the way to the front, is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, and there is no missing bolts and no illegal welds. Belt-driven alternator is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, no cut or bare wires, connections are secure. Fan and serpentine belts not cracked or frayed, no more than 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of free play. Next. Starting on left side of cab. All lines and hoses, including the firewall lines and hoses, are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking. All fluids, oil, power steering fluid, and coolant are full. Belt-driven water pump, and its lines and hoses, are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking coolant. Gear-driven air compressor, and its lines and hoses, are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking air. Steering gearbox, gear-driven power steering pump, and their high and low pressure hoses are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking. Pitman arm, drag link, steering knuckle, tie rod, and tie rod ends are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, no missing castle nuts or cotter pins. Suspension, front and rear spring mounts, bushings, leaf springs, center U-bolts, and shock absorber are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, spring not shifted, shock absorber not leaking, hydraulic fluid, bushings in place. Continuing left side of cab. Next, front wheels. Tires are inflated to manufacturer's specs, no cuts or bulges, no less than 4/32 of an inch of tread depth. Rims are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, and there are no illegal welds. Lug nuts are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, and are all present, all tight, no shiny threads or rust trails to indicate a loose lug nut. Inner and outer hub seals are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking oil or grease. Fuel tank and def tank are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking. Fuel and def caps are secure. Def has a blue cap. Door hinges, mirror brackets and mirrors are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, and mirrors are clean. Door latch works properly. For the side marker light and turn signal, I would check this like I did the lights in front. Next. Starting back of cab. Air lines, blue is service, red is emergency, are securely mounted at both ends, and are not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking air. Catwalk, steps, and fuel steps are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, and free of debris. Drive shaft is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, and U-joints are secure. Electrical line is securely mounted at both ends with a safety latch, and there are no cut or bare wires. Glad hands are securely mounted at both ends, and are not cracked, bent, broken, or leaking air, seals are intact, locked in place. Header board are securely mounted at both ends, and are not cracked, bent, broken, and no holes or damage. Illumination of clearance lights, I would check these like I did the lights in front. Splash guards, tractor and trailer mud flaps securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, and not torn. Next. Starting with coupling system. The apron, skid plate, kingpin, and platform securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken. The apron and skid plate have no gap between them. The kingpin, locking jaws are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, and lock securely around the shank. The platform has no missing mounting bolts. The release handle is securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, and locked in place with a safety latch. The airline and locking pins are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken. The airline is not leaking air, and locking pins are locked in place. Next. Starting left side drive axle suspension. Left side drive axle suspension, front and rear control arm mounts, bushings, control arm, center U-bolts, shock absorber, airbag are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, shock absorber are not leaking hydraulic fluid, airbag are not leaking air. Next. Left side drive axle. Left side drive axle suspension, front and rear control arm mounts, bushings, control arm, center U-bolts, shock absorber, airbag, are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, shock absorber not leaking hydraulic fluid, airbag not leaking air, and bushings are in place. Left side drive axle brakes, brake chamber with C-clamp, lines and hoses, slack adjuster and push rod, drums and shoes, I would check these like I did on the front axle. Brakes brake chamber with C-clamp, lines and hoses, slack adjuster and push rod, drums and shoes, I would check these like I did on the front axle. Wheels tire, rim, lug nuts, and inner and outer axle seals, I would check these like I did the front axle, except the tread depth on the tires is no less than 2/32 of an inch, the spacing between the tires is free of debris, and the tires are not rubbing. Next. Rear of tractor. Rear of tractor all lights and reflectors, left and right turn signals, four-way flashers, brake lights, reverse light, and tail lights, I would check these like I did the lights in front. Reflective tape on the mud flaps, clean, not torn, visible. Next. Trailer. Trailer frame and cross members, top and bottom, front to back, side to side are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, no holes in the trailer floor. Frame and cross members, top and bottom, front to back, side to side are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, no holes in the trailer floor. Landing gear are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, fully raised, handle secure and proper clearance between the drives and landing gear. Lights, side marker light / turn signal four-way flashers, ABS light, rear marker light, I would check these like I did the lights in front. Dot tape along the side of the trailer, I would check this like I did the tape on the mud flaps. Tandem release handle and locking pins are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, locked in place. You can verify this by making sure the locking pins are through the holes. Next. Trailer axle. Suspension, front and rear spring mounts, bushings, leaf spring, center U-bolts, torsion bar are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, or shifted. Bushings are also in place. Brakes, brake chamber with C-clamp, lines and hoses, slack adjuster and push rod, drums and shoes, I would check these like I did the drive axle. Wheel spacing, tires, rim, lug nuts, inner and outer hub seal, I would check these like I did the drive axle. Next. Rear of trailer. The rear trailer doors, hinges, and latches are securely mounted, and not cracked, bent, or broken. The trailer door latch is secured. All lights and reflectors on the rear of the vehicle, left and right turn signals, four-way flashers, brake lights, marker lights, clearance lights, license plate light and tail lights, I would check these like I did the lights in front. Reflective tape, I would check this like the tape on the mud flaps. Dot bumper are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken. Mud flaps are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, broken, and not torn. I would check the right side exactly the way that I checked the left. End of tractor trailer pre-trip inspection. Pre-trip inspection in cab. Most items require demonstration while talking. Beginning in cab inspection with a safe start engine. To safe start the engine. First, ensure the transmission is in neutral. Ensure both brakes are set. Turn key to the on position. Make sure that the ABS light comes on, goes off and stays off. Depress clutch and start the truck. Check seat belts. Latch and unlatch seat belt. Seat belt are securely mounted, not ripped or torn. They latch and unlatch properly. Check safety equipment, point to each item's location while talking. For safety equipment, there is a securely mounted, fully charged, minimum 10 pounds BC fire extinguisher. There are 3 red reflective triangles. There are spare fuses and or breakers. Check mirrors. Point to mirrors. Mirrors are clean and properly adjusted. Check gauges. The oil pressure, water temperature, voltmeter, and air gauges are all working properly and reading normal. Air gauges should stop rising between 120 and 140 psi. Depth gauge is working properly and there is at least 1/8 of a tank. Check windshield. Push the washer button while saying this. The windshield is securely mounted, not cracked, not broken, is clean, and has no illegal stickers to obstruct vision. Windshield wiper arms and blades are securely mounted, not cracked, bent, or broken, and the sprayer is working. Check defrost/heater. Turn the switch on to the floor setting, turn the fan on high and feel for air above dashboard and near floor. Defroster/heater are both working. Check horn. Honk each one. City horn and air horn are working properly. Check indicator lights. Check each. Indicator lights, left and right turn signals, four-way flashers, low and high beams are all working. And in-cab inspection. Begin brake tests. Parking brake check, also known as the tug test. Give the description, then do the step. First say, I will check the parking brake by putting the transmission in first gear, releasing the trailer valve, and tugging gently against the parking brake. Do this after giving the description. Next say, now I will set the trailer brake, release the tractor brake, and give another gentle tug. After doing this, set the parking brake and place the transmission in neutral. Begin service brake check. The service brake check is done when required by the examiner. Ask the examiner if you should perform the check now. You may be told to wait. Steps for service brake check. First, release the parking and trailer's brake valves. Next, place the transmission in a low gear. Next, pull forward, about 5 miles per hour, and firmly press the clutch and brake pedal. Make sure the steering wheel does not pull to either side, and that you feel nothing unusual. Begin 3-point brake test. 3-point brake test. For each step, repeat the quote, then perform the action. The examiner will tell you to begin the test at 90 psi or below. Before beginning the test, fan the brake pedal until pressure is at or below 90 psi. Step 1, Part 1. Say, first I will let the pressure build to between 120 and 140 psi, listening for the air compressor governor to cut out. At this point ease on the accelerator to bring the RPM up to 1000. You will know the governor cut out when you hear a burst of air and or your gauges stop rising and stabilize. Say, the governor cut out. Step 1, Part 2. Say, now I will put the transmission in first gear, turn the engine off, return the key to the on position so my gauges work, do the before mentioned steps. Next do the following steps, release the brakes and then hold firm pressure on the brake pedal. Next say, I will make sure that I lose no more than 4 psi in 1 minute for a combination vehicle equipped with air brakes. Count out loud in 1,000, 2 1,000, fashion. When the examiner stops you and asks if you lost any air pressure, the answer is no. Say, no. Step 2. Say, I will now fan the pressure down to ensure that my low air pressure warning light and or buzzer activate before the pressure drops below 55 psi, do the before mentioned step. Next say, the low pressure warnings are working. Step 3. Say, I will continue to fan the pressure down to between 20 psi and 45 psi, look and listen for my parking brake valve to pop out. Do the before mentioned step. Next say, this concludes my 3-point air brake test. This is the